Good morning, everyone, and good Shabbos. To tell a story, there was a speaker once. He took a piece of blank paper and he dropped it on the floor. And then he took his shoe and he stepped and rubbed his foot against this piece of paper. And then he picked up this dirty piece of paper that his shoe had just smudged. And he said, "Who would like this piece of paper?" And of course, no hands in the audience went up. Then he took out a nice crisp $100 bill from his pocket, dropped it on the floor, put his shoe over it, smudged it, rubbed it in the ground, picked up this dirty $100 bill and said, "Who would like this $100 bill?" And every hand in the audience went up. And he said, "What's the difference? This is a piece of paper, this is a piece of paper. How come the first paper no one wanted, the second paper everyone wanted?" And he explained something very important. He said, when you have a $100 bill, it's not the piece of paper that matters. The $100 bill just signals and represents something else. That there's $100 worth of currency in the U.S. Treasury that is backed by this $100 bill. So it's not the piece of paper that has value. The green piece of paper is just a green piece of paper. It's what it represents that stands behind this piece of paper. So when you say, "I want the dirty $100 bill," it's not because you want the piece of paper, it's you want what's untouchable, which is the currency in the treasury representing $100 worth of currency. And what was the point of the speaker? The point of the speaker is when we talk about our self-worth, how do you estimate your self-worth? There's a whole section in this week's parasha called Erechim. It's about your personal self-worth. How do you donate your self-worth to God? So today we have Worth Avenue in Palm Beach, we have Worth Magazine. People often say, "How much is he worth?" How do you evaluate someone's worth? So in the magazines they say, "How much is he worth? How much money he has in his bank account?" But we all know that's not the worth of a person, how much money they have in the bank account. That's foolish. And even the Torah in this week's parasha can't estimate your spiritual worth. Do I know your spiritual worth? Do you know my spiritual worth? In other words, you have your body and you have your soul. The body is like the $100 bill. The soul is what is represented behind that body, so to speak. In other words, the worth of a person is not their physical attributes, their whatever it is, their skill sets or their talents. It's the currency behind it, which is in the treasury, in God's treasury, the soul of the person. And that you can't evaluate. And therefore the Torah could say, if a guy says, "I want to give my worth to the temple," all he could do is do the physical estimation based on his age, on his gender, on his physical strength, because the spiritual side nobody could calculate. And here's something very fascinating. Many times people think their worth goes down when they feel they have negative traits or negative impulses or negative thoughts or negative characteristics. You know what the Talmud says? Just the opposite. The Talmud says something shocking. Kol hagadol mechavero yitzro gadol himenu, which means whoever has a greater evil inclination, it's a sign that they're spiritually greater. What's the logic? If I have all these negative traits and impulses, that means I'm a greater person? And the Talmud says, yeah. Because obviously you were given the spiritual strength to overcome these bad traits. One guy's born a nice guy by nature. Being nice comes easy to him. He doesn't need as much spiritual power to fight his negative desires. But a person who's selfish and greedy and self-centered and narcissistic, they need a much more powerful soul to conquer their bad nature. So God gave them more spiritual strength. So if you see someone or yourself in the mirror and you say, "I don't like a lot of things about me," don't look at the external side. Don't look at the dirty dollar bill, $100 bill. Look at that means I have more currency, spiritual currency, to fight that. And this is illustrated actually in a story in the Talmud about Shavuos. Next Saturday night of Shavuos. It says when Moshe went to get the Torah from heaven, the angels protested and said, "Wait a minute. We're not giving up the Torah. Torah belongs in a pristine environment, in the heavenly Torah sphere of celestial angels. We can't give it to human beings. Human beings are filled with negative characteristics and traits and impulses and desires. They're going to soil the Torah. They're going to defame the Torah. They're going to disgrace the Torah. God, you can't give the Torah to human beings." And the Talmud says in Shabbat, in Tractate Shabbat, God said to Moshe, "What do you say to their argument?" And you know what Moshe did? He said, "Let's open the Torah and read it. I am the Lord your God who took you out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage." And here you see Moshe being cynical. Moshe says to the angels, verbatim in the Talmud, "Tell me, were you guys slaves in Egypt? Have you been in slavery? I guess the Torah is not talking to you. Honor your father and mother. You guys have fathers and mothers here in heaven? I guess the Torah is not talking to you. Don't steal. Do you ever get envious of each other that you want to steal things? Don't commit adultery. Do you ever covet your wife, your friend's wife? The Torah was meant for us. Because we have human weaknesses and frailties and desires that are improper, and we want to steal, and we want to hurt somebody, be violent. The Torah says, don't kill, don't steal, don't covet, don't commit adultery, don't do this, don't do that. In other words, what he's saying is, Torah was meant for human beings because we're in the human condition. And that's what makes us not less than angels, but greater than angels, because they don't have to overcome anything negative. We have to overcome something negative. And that's the message of the Torah and the message of Shavuos. We have a soul within ourselves, and if you judge your value based on your external self, you're missing the point. The point is, it's my internal self, my spiritual side. And if I have external sides of characteristics, that just means God empowered me with more strength. There's a story told about a Hasidic Rabbi who was being visited by one of his followers who was a diamond merchant. And in conversation with the Rebbe, he said something derogatory about another Jew, and the Rebbe didn't like what he said. He put down some other Jew. So the Rebbe wanted to teach him a lesson. So the Rebbe said, I know you sell diamonds. Do you happen to have any diamonds with you? I want to maybe purchase a diamond. So he pulled out his case, he took out the diamonds, laid them all out on the table. The Rebbe picked up this small diamond, and he said, well, this is a very small diamond. It must be inexpensive. And he said, Rebbe, with all due respect, you're obviously not an expert in diamonds. It happens to be, while this diamond looks small, the cut and the clarity and the color makes it the most expensive diamond on the table. The Rebbe looked at him and said, if I am no expert in diamonds, when did you become an expert in souls? You can never measure the value of someone's soul. And sometimes it's just the opposite. The person who has the most external challenges in life may have the most powerful soul of all. So when you look at your worth, don't look at your externalities, look at your inner neshama.